Alright guys, today we're going to check out a clone of the Fulltone OCD pedal. Introducing Warm Audio's Oddbox. Let's get started. Thanks for joining me for today's video. I really appreciate it, and I want to give a quick thank you to Sweetwater for sending me this pedal so that I can do a review and shootout with this pedal for you guys. And I am being paid for this, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to just say nice things about it. I'm literally going to speak my mind about the pedal and let you know my honest thoughts about it. In this video, I'm going to shoot out the odd box with a couple of different pedals that I consider my favorites, the Mesa Grid Slammer and the Mud Killer. So I'll shoot it out with those two after I do some dialing in of the pedal itself. And I'm going to push 3 different amps with this pedal, the Revv Mark III, the MT15, and the EVH Iconic. So as you know, Fulltone shut their doors about a year ago, I think now. And their pedals were super popular, especially the OCD. A lot of people really like that pedal. And a lot of people were bummed because they're like, man, what am I going to do if I want another one of those pedals? Well, here's a good option for you. So let's see how good this pedal really is. Now, aesthetically, it looks pretty much exactly like the original pedal. So they really nailed this right down to the last detail. So let's go ahead and do something interesting here. Now, I'm going to start out by pushing the clean channel of my MT15 to show you exactly what frequencies this pedal is pushing. So here are the settings on the pedal, pretty standard settings. You know, you got the volume cranked, the gain all the way down, tone in the middle, and there's a switch here, which is basically US or UK. So you have different voicings with that switch. So let's see what that does, and let's go ahead and fire up the MT15 clean channel now and just see what this pedal's doing. Well, there's a pretty good push there, but I'm not hearing a lot of gain, so that's a misconception a lot of people have with overdrive pedals. They're like, oh man, if you have enough gain, you don't need an overdrive pedal. No, that is completely incorrect. All the pedal is doing at this point with these settings is shaping the tone and just shoving some more input in the front end of this amplifier so that it gets more responsive and a little more angry, but there's no gain involved here. It's just breaking up a little bit, but it doesn't mean that there's gain in there. So let's go ahead and mess with the settings, but before I do that, let's see what this UK-US switch actually does. Now I have a feeling I'm going to prefer the UK setting on this pedal. That's interesting. So it sounds like it's getting louder, but really what it's doing is it's pushing the upper mids a little bit more, which does give you the illusion of having more volume, but it's just pushing certain frequencies that also kind of push the volume up a little bit. But I like it. It's actually adding a little bit more bite and attack to the tone, and I have a feeling that with the high gain stuff, I'm going to prefer that. So if you ever really want to know what's going on with an overdrive pedal, I always say this: make sure you push your clean channel first and have an understanding of what it's doing with different settings so that you can better understand what's going on there, and then you can adjust the pedal with your amp accordingly, especially when you're in the high gain stuff. Because in the high gain stuff, you do notice stuff with what the pedal's doing, but it's not as obvious as it is on the clean channel. So before we crank the gain up and do all the fun stuff, let's see you know, what this pedal sounds like with a clean channel with various settings. actually, that sounds better than I thought it would. I mean, would I use this in that way for what I do? No, because it's not enough gain and aggression, but it sounds really good. So I can see why guys that use like lower gain type stuff would really like this pedal for those settings. You know, just boost the front of a clean channel on your amp and you get that nice snap to it. It's tight. Now, the thing is if you get the gain past noon, it starts getting a little loose. So probably around 1 o'clock is about the limit, you know, as far as the gain's concerned. So as long as you stay below 1 o'clock on the gain on this pedal, it actually remains pretty tight. Because like I was saying, if you go past that, like all the way up, it's really loose and kind of muddy, so you want to back it down. But for, you know, the really good classic rock tone, if you just want a little bit of bite, you know, blues, maybe some like AC/DC type stuff, this pedal would do really well for those types of sounds. So now let's go ahead and switch gears and switch to the high gain channel on the MT15. And I'll turn the pedal off, play a couple riffs on the amp, and see how the pedal interacts with the amp with these settings. Wow, man, lots of great settings with this pedal. What I really like is, you know, if you want to go for something that's a little more mellow, let's say your amplifier is pretty gnarly, you know, you can drop this down to the US side and it just mellows it out a little bit. But if you need a little extra, maybe for leads, or if you just want that extra push and extra aggression, put it on the UK side, and man, it just gets really nasty, but in a good way. And with this amp, I didn't need to add gain, but I just did. I added a little bit just for kicks, and it does really, you know, piss off the amp a little bit more. But I do really like the tone knob in this pedal as well. So a lot of times I tell people, if you want a little more aggression in your amplifier and your pedal's not really doing it for you, crank that tone knob up. Find a sweet spot with that past 12 o'clock. And a lot of times it'll add that extra attack and texture and aggression to the top end of the amp, and it really does help with that. So try that out. And with this pedal, the sweep that the tone knob has is really good. Now I know it's probably pretty hard to tell with the compression on YouTube, but I can really tell in the room here that when I have the tone knob cranked, or at least past noon, and I have the switch on the UK setting, it really does add a lot of great aggression and great feel to the amplifier as well. And the thing is, some of our guitars have darker pickups and we need that little extra kick that these pedals will give us, and this pedal really does it well. So now let's switch to the Revv Genarator MKIII purple channel and see how this pedal interacts with that amp. Well, obviously the Revv is really getting along with this pedal famously. So the settings I found were really good is if I put it in the UK mode, just having standard settings is good enough. But if I go down to the US mode and I turn the tone knob up to about right there, it adds that perfect amount of bite that I'm looking for. So I really think that this pedal is very flexible, and I love the different tonal options that it gives you. And again, like, every amp's different. Every amp is going to respond to the pedal differently. And to have a pedal that has the right types of features and the right sweep on the different knobs on it really helps to you know, adjust to different amplifiers or different channels on amplifiers very easily. So before we move on to the next amp with this pedal, let's play around with it just a little bit more. Yeah, that's freaking awesome. So another thing I like too is, as you notice when I was turning the pedal on and off while I was riding out a chord and doing the thing there, it didn't change the tone of the amp. Like, I still recognized that, yeah, I'm playing my Revv right now. It didn't totally just misshape or overly shape the tone. It just made it more aggressive and more responsive. And texture-wise, yeah, it adds that little bit of grit on top and that aggression, but the overall voicing and tone of the amp remains the same, and I do like that. There's some pedals that I've tried before that completely misrepresent the tone of the amplifiers that I play, and I don't like that. I bought this amp for a reason, because I like how it sounds. I don't want a pedal that's just going to completely shape the tone in a way where you don't recognize the amp anymore. And with this pedal, you definitely retain all of the voicing of the amp. It just enhances it a little bit more, and while still, you know, retaining the voicing of it. So I really like the texture it adds, and the feel is great. I mean, the amps are super responsive with this pedal. And I'm kind of surprised, and the reason why I'm surprised is I've never played the OCD pedal. I never played the original, but I've always heard that it's kind of a rock pedal. It's not really a metal guy's pedal, but maybe they're wrong, or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about what I heard. I don't know, but I remember a lot of people saying that it's mainly made for just rock dudes, you know. But I'm a metal guy, and this pedal totally has the goods. And what's nice is, if you, let me switch cameras here. What's nice is, if you are more of on the rock side of things, you'll probably like the US side of things. But if you want metal, go to the UK, or if you want metal, stay on the US side and turn your tone knob up accordingly, and you can have, you know, you can have something that'll work for you there as well. Now, not everybody likes the same settings or the same amount of aggression. I'm just saying, like, you could use those different settings, and depending on your amp and the settings you have on there, your pickups, I mean, there's a billion variables, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't see why you couldn't make this pedal work for you. So now let's switch to the EVH Iconic. We're going to be on the green channel in crunch mode and see how this pedal affects that amplifier. Let's go ahead and turn it off and switch to that now. Works very well with the EVH Iconic also, and yeah, that texture, man, I'm telling you, it's probably not coming through on YouTube. I don't know. I won't know until I watch the video after I upload it, but in the room and in my in-ears here, I can definitely hear that grit and that snap, that aggression, you know, that pick attack. I can hear it all very clearly in the room and through my in-ears. It just sounds incredible. So I'm surprised. I literally, like, when I got this pedal, I was like, man, because of the things that I've heard about it regarding it still being amazing, but just more for rock guys, I was like, man, I hope I like this. And I'm surprised by how much I like this pedal, to be honest with you. I really am. I love the switch between the US and the UK. Gives you a lot of flexibility there. And the sweep on the tone knob is amazing. And with the volume control, I mean, yeah, big deal, right? It's got a volume control, but I love how much push it has. It's got the right amount of push. And speaking of the knobs, they feel like high quality knobs. They don't feel like cheap, wobbly knobs. You guys know what I'm talking about. You know, when you turn a knob on a pedal and you feel like it's going to fall off or it's kind of loose. These are robust, and they have a bit of a, you know, resistance to them when you turn them. So I do like that. They feel like high quality components in this pedal. So it looks like it's made really well, and like I said, they stuck to the original design, so I like that very much also. This is my first time playing a Warm Audio product too. So, all right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set this up my favorite way. So I'm on the UK side with the tone knob slightly, oh, it's just past noon. And I'm going to shoot it out against a couple of my pedals. So when you see the odd box on the screen, that means I'm playing that. When you see just me here, that means I'm playing whatever pedal I tell you I'm shooting it out with. So in this particular shootout, I'm going to put it up against the Mud Killer with my favorite settings, and let's just see what it sounds like. And I'll go back to the Revv Mark III for this shootout as well. All right, so for this shootout, I'm going to put it up against the Mesa Grid Slammer. Lots of similarities in these shootouts, but I'm noticing some subtle differences as well. Each pedal is pushing a slightly different set of frequencies and cutting a different amount of low end. So depending on your taste, you'll prefer one over the other, but I'm a big believer in collecting overdrive pedals because my tastes change all the time. I mean, there was a time when the Mud Killer could do no wrong, and it was like, that's my pedal, I don't need anything else, even though I had a bunch of other ones. And then one day I fired up the Grid Slammer and I was like, where has this pedal been all my life? And it was right on my pedal board. I just never used it that much. And as soon as I found the sweet spot with that, which is level all the way up, gain all the way down, tone all the way up, that pedal just came to life and just was amazing. So I'm like, yep, that's definitely one of my go-to pedals. And now I have another flavor that I would like to add to my board, because this actually is a different enough pedal to add to my collection and switch to that every once in a while as well. You know, it's like your favorite meal at a restaurant. Every once in a while when you go in, you're like, you know what, I'm craving something else on the menu this time. You know, instead of having the number 7, I'll have the number 9 or whatever. And you just, you know how we are. We're a bunch of finicky guitar players, and we like different things. So, and every once in a while when I plug into any one of my pedals, for some reason that day I'm like, gosh, I don't know what it is, but I'm just not digging this today. And then you switch to something else and you're like, there it is. Maybe it's a placebo thing, maybe it's not, but it's nice to have options either way. All right, so one final test I'm gonna do for you guys in this video is I'm gonna go back to the clean channel on my MT15, and I'll play each one of these pedals through the clean channel and show you the different frequencies that they're pushing. And you'll be able to hear them very clearly now. Man, you see what I mean? When you go through a clean channel with an overdrive pedal, especially you want to compare different pedals, you can really hear the difference between them. And I would say, and I'm shocked, that the strongest push came from the odd box. I mean, it just pushed the living hell out of the front end of that amp. And there's no volume adjustments that I'm making on here. They're all, you know, everything's the same volume. I'm not doing any trickery here. So as soon as I switched from the odd box to the Mud Killer, there was a pretty noticeable dip in volume. I mean, the Mud Killer definitely does not push as hard as the odd box does. And then between the odd box and the Grid Slammer, there was less of a difference, but there's still a little more push coming out of the odd box, even compared to the Grid Slammer. So I've learned a lot in this video, and I hope you guys did too. I mean, if you really want to push the living daylights out of your amp and have a little more headroom in your pedal, I would say the odd box would be a great pedal for you. I see why the hype was real about the OCD when they came out. I never played one. I've always heard good things about them, but I totally understand why now. Because if this pedal is a true clone of the OCD, which everybody says it is, I can see why everybody liked it, because this pedal really does push the amps a lot harder than even some of my favorite pedals here. So yeah, I'm going to highly recommend this pedal to you guys. I really think that it's great. Lots of flexibility. If you're a rock guy, classic rock, AC/DC type guy with a clean channel that you want to push with this pedal, to, you know, classic 80s rock, 80s metal, and all the way up to modern metal, this pedal would absolutely suit all of your needs to, you know, in any one of those genres and anywhere in between. So yep, I would say go get one. So if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And if you want to get one of these pedals for yourself, there is a Sweetwater affiliate link of mine in the description of the video. Click on that link. It takes you right to their website, and you can order one of these for yourself. And they're a very affordable pedal, really good deal on the pedal. So I was assuming, since, you know, this is kind of a boutique pedal, it'd be like around 200 bucks, but it's way less than that. So you can really get a good deal on one of these, and you can help my channel out as well by using my affiliate link. I would really appreciate that. Doesn't cost you anything extra. It just helps me out while you're getting something for yourself. Well, thanks for watching, and to all my subscribers and Patreon supporters, I really appreciate you guys. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I come out with a video or go live. I got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.